Hey guys, in this video, you are in for one hell of a wild ride. We have a lot to get through today, but before we talk about the facts, we're going to talk about my personal views and all that shit. Okay, so, I do not talk about political things. You know, political issues is not my thing. Mainly because I'm politically inept. Okay, also because I believe politicians are corrupt. Well, because they are. What goes on in the government is so fucking fucked up, it's unbelievable. So I try and avoid at least talking about, like, presidential debates and, well, here in Canada we have prime ministers, but just in general avoiding talking about this kind of stuff. But when it comes to Donald Trump, holy shit, there is way too much to say. And I mean way too much. And it would be really bad if I didn't say something, actually. But since I know so very little, I had help from somebody who is an amazing researcher. One of my good friends online, his name is Ryan. His YouTube account is RyanWard87. After this video, you will want to subscribe to him. So I strongly suggest you click the link down below to go to his channel. You may notice that his channel is completely different than what we talked about here because he makes a lot of silly videos. But I assure you that just like most crazy intelligent people, he is, well, very, very, very intelligent. And he gets 90% credit for this video because he helped me write almost all of this. All I did was interpret, ask questions, make notes, and put my own spin on it. So anyway, the reason I addressed him is not just because he's smart, but also because he's a Donald Trump supporter. And my thoughts throughout all the Donald Trump stuff was, you know, why does he get so much hate? You know, the media will try and lead all of you people to believe that he's racist, bigoted, all this kind of shit. But in reality, that's actually not true at all if you do the proper research, which I didn't until I spoke to Ryan. Like most people have not. The reason I started questioning is because I started wondering, you know, why is there this much hate? Especially considering the fact that the media was the one bad-mouthing him. You know, because anybody with half a brain knows how the world works, okay? I mean, I know it better than most people do, but how the world works is very simple. The media always, 100% of the time, insults things that are correct, or good, positive. And if something's really, really bad, the media will always promote it. They want it more shown. They will try to speak good about it. So that's why I was like, the media is talking horribly about Trump every day, but yet people are disliking him. This is not in tune with how the world usually works. So I thought there was something not right here. You know, why would the media be hating on somebody, but then everybody agreeing with the media? So I started doing research and, of course, talking to Ryan about all the different comments that Trump has supposedly said. And I'm going to go through, you know, a lot of them. I'm going to try and touch on the most prominent ones, the ones that people complained about the most often, the ones that people are against him about the most often, etc. And I'm going to simply discredit them. And there is a huge moral to this video, and we'll get to that afterwards. But without further ado, let's begin with probably, as far as I know, the earliest complaint about Donald Trump. His comment towards Mexican people. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to begin with what the media articles quoted him saying. According to the media, now of course different outlets put their own different spin or distortion on what he actually said, but the primary quote that I see is the following. They're sending people that have lots of problems. And they're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists. And the quote ends. Literally, that's what a quote, like, box is. Anybody reading this quote is going to be like, wow, like, he's calling them, you know, he's calling them drug dealers, rapists, their crime, all this kind of stuff. However, if anybody had actually watched the actual debate and not just read articles like I sadly did at the time because I didn't care about researching this kind of stuff, this is the real quote that Trump really said. When Mexico sends its people, so only the people who are being sent, they're not sending the best. These are people are being, he was referring to people who are being sent to the U.S. illegally. Okay? Not just anybody who's coming here from Mexico. So that's the first distortion that they said. They're not sending the best. Right there again, obviously pointing out that they're not sending the best ones. You know, the ones who are being sent, the ones who come to the U.S. or Canada, the U.S. though, because, you know, this is where this is going on, the ones who are being sent there are the ones the ones who were drug dealers or rapists in Mexico, and they were, you know, the jails there are very full. So when they're being sent illegally across the border, that's who they're sending. You know, he's not saying that everybody in Mexico is a rapist. And that's where that's where this distortion came in, that everybody, including myself, believes, because we didn't do the research, we just read that article, an article similar to it. They're not sending the best. They're not sending you. They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing these problems. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime. They're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people. But I speak to border guards, and they're telling us what we're getting. So there you go. He's openly admitting at the end that he speaks to the border guards, and they tell them what type of people are passing by. He in no way said that every single Mexican is a rapist, or that every single Mexican is a drug dealer, or whatever. He's talking about the ones who get sent to the U.S. illegally. And he even said at the end of his quote, I assume are good people. So it's ridiculous that it was so distorted by the media, what he actually said and what he actually meant. There was also another quote he said. He even tried to verify. I said Mexico is sending. I didn't say people are coming over and they're bad people. He had even tried to verify and people still didn't get it. Another quote regarding this matter was, it's about safety. Some of the people coming here are very violent people. Not all. So as you can see, he said not all. Like, people are constantly distorting. It's kind of like people who try and distort what I say. When people go, oh, Matt, you think all this or all that. Same thing. I didn't actually say it. Just like how Donald Trump didn't really say this. But people distort it to fit their own agenda. And to follow up with this, there's also the complaint about the wall. Like, oh, a wall to block them out. But again, that's another distortion by the media. His real quote was actually, they have to come here legally. And, you know, when I talk about the wall, and I said it before, we're going to have a tremendous, beautiful, wide-open door. Nice, big door. We want people to come into the country. This actually makes perfect sense. And if you want more information on the wall, and why the wall that he's planning to do between the South of America, I would suggest reading an article I'll link below. It's all about, it's basically detailing this wall he has planned and how he plans to implement it and what its purpose is and everything like that. I read through this article and it actually makes perfect sense. Now, I had to make a lot of notes on this, so what I'm going to read right now are my own words, but I have it written down so I could remember. This is what I had written down regarding the wall and the article. I agree with this because I also believe that we can't just let anyone in. For instance, here in Canada, we let in anyone, and I mean literally anyone. Yeah, here in Canada, there's an extremely open door policy here. The idea of this is for Canada to appear open and free and generous and such, but it seems to me that we have no control. Recession here, especially here in Toronto, is a crisis, therefore no jobs left, which is true. The recession here is terrible. There are no jobs. Especially if you live within the GTA, which is the Greater Toronto Area, there are no fucking jobs here. It's a joke. And when we're bringing in people, kind of like how we're bringing in Syrian refugees, I'm not going to say it's bad to bring in Syrian refugees, but the problem is that they are the ones who are going to take even more of our jobs. And it doesn't seem like here in Canada we have any kind of like limitations for, or any kind of like concept of how this can be bad. We have no understanding of this, it seems, here in Canada. Toronto is overflooded and has about 5 million people alone. Even on weekdays, it's nearly impossible to travel around Toronto. The sign as you enter Toronto says 2.5 million people, but that sign is very old. Today, it's essentially doubled. There's no control over who comes and also where they go. To follow up even further on the Mexican issue, many people will say, well, you know, if he is worried about anybody coming in because they could be, you know, because they could have these kind of issues or issues with crime, then why did Donald Trump only say Mexicans? Well, again, there's an explanation on that as well. The reason why he started talking about this in regards to Mexico is because he had originally planned to build the wall around the south of the U.S., and that's where Mexico kind of is. That's where the border is that they cross. Some people also wonder how exactly does Donald Trump plan to figure out who's a bad person and who's a good person. Well, I'm sure there's many methods of doing this. Some people aren't really even thinking about how we can do this, but quite simply, it's one way is to just simply check criminal records. Anyway, I think that's enough of the whole Mexican comment. Let's move on to the next comment that people are having complaints about. The next issue that we need to tackle is in regards to a huge complaint that people are making, which is about how he apparently wants to shut down the internet or different websites in order to keep certain kinds of people from knowing what's going on or keeping them out or something like that. But again, that was yet another manipulation by the media. He doesn't want to shut down the internet, when in reality he actually wants to just limit the internet geographically to certain parts of the world. There's an amazing article that you can read on this actually that goes into great detail about what Donald Trump meant and how he's planning to do it, etc. I will link it below. Please read the article. I mean, there's no point in me explaining it when you can just read it right here. And the article actually details it very, very well. But the fact of the matter is, again, people think that Donald Trump meant, close down the internet. But that's actually not what he meant at all. He meant to geographically limit it, is what he actually meant. So again, you're being lied to by the media. Also, side note, I just want to point out that, yes, there has been several times where Donald Trump may have used the wrong words and said something that may appear outlandish. But let's keep in mind, and the internet thing is a great example, that's why I'm saying it now, is the man is almost 70 years old. It's not like he's going to have all the knowledge and terminology when it comes to using internet slang, as we younger people would. He's 70 fucking years old. It's not easy, for a man of that age to just know exactly what to say regarding the internet. But if you read the article, however, and look into the details of what he meant, it actually makes perfect sense. This next thing is not actually a complaint, but I just want to include it to show you guys how amazing and intelligent Donald Trump is. This next article I'm going to link below. Please click it and actually read it, because I did as well. It's about this tax reform idea that he has. And you know what? I was actually going to go through the list and kind of describe to you what each one is and how he's planning to do it, etc. But I don't even need to. I'm looking at the website right now where he has the tax reform idea listed, and holy shit. This is so straightforward. This is so obvious, and this is so amazing. I'm not even going to explain it. Click the link below and read his plan on the tax reform. Holy crap. Every single point he's making would actually make the U.S. great again. Literally. This is not even a joke. Seriously, I don't even need to describe this. If you people are willing to even somewhat open your minds and actually read the real information and not what the media tells you, you will see that his ideas are unbelievably good. Click the link below to read about his tax reform idea. It's amazing. Okay. Now let's move on to other racist comments. Not just the ones about Mexicans, but let's talk about other racist comments. I often hear that he's a bigot and a racist, and he's made racist comments supposedly towards Muslims, Chinese, and other races as well. And I spoke to Ryan and I got a lot of insight into what was really said. And one of the most common things that we're going to discuss, and the final thing we're going to discuss, is in regards to his racist comments towards Muslims. Now, what do people say most commonly towards his comments about Muslims? Well, they point out that he said we're going to ban all Muslims from the country. But, that's what the media is telling you. But is that what he really said? Well, let's go on to the actual quotes. What Donald Trump really said was that he wants to implement a temporary ban on Muslims just until he can see a way of vetting out who is basically a terrorist or part of ISIS, to put it as simply as I possibly can. And even some people are saying that he wants to basically kick out Muslims who are already in the country. Well, no. He wants to ban the ones who are trying to come in illegally. The Muslims who are already in the United States legally and are citizens, he's not gonna kick them out of the country. That's yet another lie that the media told you. He's not planning to kick Muslims out of the country. He's not planning to block all Muslims out of the country or not let any in the future. Actually, if you read the quotes or watch the debates, you will see that he's actually inviting people in. He wants people to come. He wants Mexicans to come. He wants Muslims to come. He just wants them, A, to come legally, and B, he's putting a temporary ban only for the purpose of vetting out who is basically a terrorist or part of ISIS. It's about safety. It's about safety precautions. That's what this is all about. You can easily read about all this. I'll put links down below. Read the real information. He also said that he wouldn't mind surveilling mosques in the United States, which actually makes perfect sense because that's where a lot of the meetings take place, which is true. You know, that's where like a mosque is the Muslim church, and that is where a lot of these types of meetings take place. So surveilling them, you might say like, oh, he's trying to invade their privacy, but no. Again, safety precaution. This is actually a good thing. This is information that Ryan had told me. I didn't even know that this was true. He told me that in Paris, they started doing raids of mosques. And in 3 of them, they arrested hundreds of Muslims who had plans for more terrorist attacks. Imagine if they weren't surveilling them, what would have happened? Now, there is so much more lies regarding Donald Trump. There are so many more distortions and manipulations of his words. And there are so many more media manipulations regarding him and his words. But these are the most common ones that people complain about with him. Now, I've gotten a lot more information from Ryan. So Ryan, if you're watching, I kind of apologize for not naming everything we talked about because there was an awful lot and you went through a lot to teach me all this. But these are the most common things that people complain about. Okay? Now, I want to talk about Donald Trump's character as a person for just one brief moment. You know, yes, the main fact here is the media lies. That's all they do is they fucking lie. And anybody should know, especially my followers for obvious reasons, that if the media, I mean, this is how the world works. Like, I don't understand why this is so hard to accept. This is how the world works, okay? This is basic human knowledge. If the media is against it, then it's good. And if the media supports it, then it's bad. This may seem backwards to people, but that's how the media functions. The media does not want the world to be good. The media does not want younger people to grow up with sound mind. The media does not want the US or Canada or any other country to be looked at in a positive light. These are basic facts of life. And that is why I decided to start looking at this closer, because I thought, oh, the media is insulting him. And people are against him as well. Something is not adding up here. And it wasn't adding up. You know? And you know what? You know what one of the best things about Donald Trump is, and the reason why he's hated, aside from the fact that media is manipulating every single word he said, is because of the kind of person he is. This is actually something I liked about him before I even started talking to Ryan. Because I thought, okay, well, he has this great aspect, but he's racist. Now I know that he's not only has a great aspect, but he's also not racist and a ton of other things. And that is that he's very blunt. You know, yes, a lot of his comments came across as very outlandish. A lot of them came across as appearing racist or sexist or something like that. But really, the actual truth is very, very simple. He's too honest. He was too open. And you know, this is what happens to people. When people are way too honest, when people are way too open and blunt and they don't like to censor themselves, you end up being like kind of, well, me. You know? People who actually want real change, like myself. People who actually want to make things positive in the world, like myself. People who are going to be brutally honest with everybody around them, regardless of how it comes across. Whether if it comes across as, you know, forceful, or appearing as if like I'm swearing a lot, or insulting people, or that I'm aggressive, or that I'm calling you stupid, or something like that. The fact of the matter is, I may be doing those things, but what these things really do, if you look past the fact that everybody in this world gets offended by the smallest fucking thing, and we looked at what's really going on in this world, people like me, Donald Trump, or anybody who's brutally honest with people they speak with and don't care to censor themselves because they're not afraid of hurting every single person around them, it's very simple. We are the kind of people, we're the type of people who actually want real change. We are the type of people who can bring change. If you simply walk up to somebody and start telling them lies, just to make them feel better about themselves, to avoid hurting them, to avoid offending them, you're not going to change anything. Why do you think the US is so fucked up? Why do you think the US is so fucking fucked up? It's because people are being manipulated into hating these types of people. No. People who are overly honest, overly blunt, don't like censorship, actually believe in freedom of speech. They are the best types of people. Because people like Donald Trump, he doesn't care if he offends you. He doesn't care if what he says comes across as really aggressive and open. Because that's his philosophy. His philosophy is very simple, and it's good, it's correct. His philosophy is, I'm going to tell you the way it is. I don't care if you think it's racist. It's like, say the Muslim thing, for example. If he goes, I want to ban some of them, the illegal ones, until we figure out a solution. That's not being racist. He's being very blunt about it. He's saying, listen, I'm banning until we figure out a solution to this problem. But to people, it comes across as offensive and racist. But it's not. It actually makes perfect sense. What he's saying is correct. Mexicans, many that are coming in here, who are being sent here illegally, have problems. They're rapists. They're drug dealers. Now, yes, it was manipulated that he said all Mexicans, which he didn't say. But it's still ridiculous because people get offended. Oh, he's saying that even some of them are rapists. Oh, he shouldn't say that. You shouldn't ever say somebody's a rapist. Why the fuck not? Seriously, that's the philosophy that people like him and me and other brutally honest people have. Why the fuck shouldn't we say that? If it's true, then let's say it. He in no way said that every Mexican is a rapist. He said that many who are coming into the U.S. illegally are. But he's right. So what the fuck do you want? This is the problem with people, is that they don't understand the difference between, oh, somebody is so honest to the point that they're fucking racist, to they're so honest to the point where they sound racist. It's because you people get offended at every little thing. It's because you people have a mind that you have to be politically correct, which is actually incorrect, to satisfy everybody around you. No, because that mentality is why the U.S. won't improve. The U.S. is incredibly racist. The U.S. is incredibly not free. Okay? There's no freedom. America likes to preach that they're so free, but they're not. Okay? The U.S. is, to put it simply, the U.S. is the least free first world country in the world. That's just a fact. I'm sorry. They are the least free first world country in the entire world. Sorry. Because the U.S. is so fucked up. The government there is fucked up. The system there is fucked up. The justice system is fucked up. Police are fucked up. Politicians are fucked up. And then you finally have this one politician who's going to flat out tell you exactly how it is and not care if you get offended because guess what? Being right trumps you being offended. Get it? Trumps. Anyway. And that's what the U.S. needs to improve. But no, instead the media goes, hey, actually he's a racist. But if you really research these quotes he said, he's not racist. He never made any racist comments towards Muslims. It's a temporary ban for illegal citizens. That's intelligent. Building a wall that will welcome people. That's intelligent. Saying that some Mexicans who come illegally are rapists. That's intelligent and correct. Banning the internet geographically, not worldwide, until you figure out a solution. That's intelligent. Fixing the tax problem. Read about the tax reform. That's intelligent. And the fact that he's so open and blunt and really wants legitimate change is amazing. I don't know if he'll be elected president, but I really think after all this research that I've done, and Ryan has helped me with, that he should. A lot more is going to come out after this video is done, and there's also a lot more that I didn't mention in this video that has already came out. And I strongly suggest to you, before commenting on this video, you're more than welcome to. You can debate with me and Ryan. I would love that. Please write a comment. But before you do, please do actual research. And the best kind of research to do, if you hear a quote, do not send me any media articles. If he said something bad, send me the video of him saying it. Because then at least it's real. It's an actual quote. And to end this off, the best thing about Donald Trump is that he's 69 years old. Okay, I'm kidding. But anyway, special thanks to RyanWar87 for this extremely extensive research. I appreciate you. You're an awesome friend. You're extremely intelligent. Thank you for informing me about the reality of Donald Trump. And I hope that people who watch this video have also learned a bit about the real world. Take care.